Hello, everybody. I'm excited to welcome Steve Giordano today, who is the #1 producer last year with 1.3 million of issue paid premium on his own pen. So you are a complete animal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We also have Stephen Yee with us, who's actually just become a huge asset to Family First Life when it comes to doing interviews, when it comes to scheduling conferences. He's a marketing machine. I wanted him in here to extract some info from you.
It's like we're interrogating him.
Yeah, this is an interrogation.
Beautiful.
To help new agents do what you're doing, okay? Also, I love your suit.
Thank you.
Where do you get that done? Is that a custom suit?
Custom Mark Russell Boca Raton. He told me I had to wear it today.
Dude, that looks freaking good. It looks a lot better than my Express suits that I get that don't fit right. So I might have to call that guy.
No doubt. You'll like him.
All right. So you look good. You have had an insane work ethic, which we're going to dive into your whole schedule today. But I have a question.
Sure.
What's driving you to be so committed to winning aside from money? Because it can't just be money.
Yeah, it's interesting with money because money's not the motivator. I think when I started, it was first about survival and learning this business. And then it was like, okay, I kind of want to be the best at it. And why not?
So you would just want to be the best.
Just want to be the best and help a lot of people. And now, as we're growing an agency, trying to help others be the best.
So you were accused of having I told someone you did 1.3 million and someone said that's impossible.
Right.
They go, he probably has a small call center that he's taking credit for. And I go, dude, I don't think he is, but we want to know how you did that. Before we get there, you just had a baby boy,
Dominic.
Dominic. How old is Dominic now?
7 months.
7 months old. How has that changed your life?
It's been amazing because, now it's more than just myself and my wife, Margot. It's really for him. And, it's another part of this. It's trying to, change his entire future, and just give him things that I never was able to have or never even dreamed of.
Yeah. So we were flying the other day. We hit a bunch of turbulence. Sean Mike was acting like nothing happened. I was freaked out. The girl in front of us was crying. And I'm talking a lot of turbulence. Like it was very rare. Even the pilot was like, yeah, that was odd. That doesn't happen that often. But as it was happening, Sean goes, dude, you gotta stay cool because someone might live to tell your story of you hiding under the seat. And then, dude, this sounds weird, but I'm like, dude, I would want my kid Atlas to watch me not be scared when something happens. Right. And then you have a baby boy. And you're probably thinking, I want to show him what it's like to win.
That's right.
More than anything, right?
Absolutely.
So congratulations on everything. How big was your Americo You First bonus?
For the year, it was about $70,000.
Can you tell everyone what that is?
So Americo You First bonus, when you write $45,000 in the 6-month period, they're paying you 8% on your business. So I did over $1 million with Americo.
That is crazy. You did over $1 million with Americo.
Yeah.
And they gave you $70,000 bonus just for doing that. Family First Life gave you what, $50,000?
$50,000, yeah.
So $120,000 in bonuses.
And then throw in AM because they didn't do the trip, so that was $4,000.
That's cool, man. Did you buy anything cool?
Not really, because I'm trying to just, pour it back into the business, grow, and, get a new house in a year. But,
how much
crazy.
is that suit?
I think it's like $1,500.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Cool. All right. Tell us about your schedule from when you wake up, go to bed. What's your day look like? How many appointments, how many leads? How do you get all of this done to accomplish such a big number by the end of the year?
Yeah, I think the sacrifice is what you have to really buy into first. I've been one to get up at 4 a.m. Just because I've always wanted to be physical and physically healthy and fit. Go to the gym, 5 o'clock, typically there, hour and a half. Back home, dialing by 8 o'clock. Like I am fanatical about dialing by 8 o'clock. I have agents that are like, you must have a dialer. I've never had anybody dial anything for me ever. So we'll set the record straight on that.
Right.
So just dialing at 8 a.m. typically till around 1. And then, 1 o'clock until 3, I'll do calls for, recruits, interviews. And then typically, some form of a team call, typically on Monday. And then most of the time I'm finishing it up when I get home from like 6 to 8 dialing. Because I just get fanatical about the appointment count. Mark Mead early on preached 30 appointments. We know that we can't lose on 30 appointments. So I just get really crazy about that, 15 and 15. And then when I'm out in the field, it's like it's on.
Right.
Meaning I'm there 9 to 9 typically, and I'm not going home until something good has happened. And I haven't had, a ton of days where I did monster days, but I haven't had any days where I did nothing. And that adds up.
Right.
So my mentality in the field then is when I'm out, typically I'm trying to book those 8, but if I didn't, I'm door knocking. I had a door knock last Wednesday of an 89-year-old woman and called me back, met her and her son on Saturday, and wrote a total of like $11,000.
With Aetna.
Yeah, it was Aetna and then Couple America for the two younger kids. Like, that doesn't take talent. Like, I'm not special because I could do that. It's just working, So I'm typically doing that, dialing Monday, Thursday, typical FFL schedule, in the field Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and just 30 appointments. 30, probably sit with 19, sell 10, 12, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower.
That's fascinating because you would think the number one producer closes like 100%. Right? And see, like, a lot of people look at your numbers and go, dude, like, he probably books 30, sits on 30, and closes 30. That's why he writes 30 right a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, now that you're able to break that myth down to say, no, dude, I booked 30 to sit on 19 and close 10. It's like, that's what corporate's always been talking about. What's your average AP per app, you think?
170. Actually, John Wetmore called me one day and told me that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Right. Everybody thinks you're probably writing like 400 or 500 a month, but you just have a lot of 170s.
But how? That's still high.
Right.
I think it's finding the need in the house and then showing the high number and not being afraid of the high number. Somebody said this, I heard it the other day on a podcast. Like, if you sell a lot of smaller policies, they're not going to stick, but a lot of the bigger ones do, and that's really true. Mm-hmm. Like, don't be afraid to show it. That doesn't mean it's going to be the only thing you show, but you're going to show it, and some people are going to go for it.
Are you a 3 options guy, or are you a top-down? How do you close?
Yeah, I'm a top-down with 3 options. I'm like the simplicity guy. Like,
okay.
When it comes to the phone and the in-home, I do not want to overcomplicate this for people because if you'll lose them. I mean, Matt Smith says it all the time. So I try to just make it crazy simple and lead them in the direction because, Sean says it, we're the doctor, they're the patient. So don't convolute it. Don't make it, hey, I work as a broker. Clearly, if I wrote $1 million of America, like we're going America, like I'm not giving you the option. And then if I pivot into something else,
How powerful is it that you only go America? Like, you're not confusing clients. How do you, okay, I got a good question that a new person might ask. What if one's $2 cheaper? How do you know, how are you okay going with America?
Because I talk value over price. And I'll tell people, look, the process we're going through right now is a really, really simple process. And by the time we're done, we're either going to know if we're approved or we're not, as opposed to us having to wait 10 days for something to issue. They might come back and ask us more questions. Like, this is the best option for you. And when you have conviction in that, if you believe it, they believe it.
Yeah. Now, do you get up at 4 a.m. on Sundays too?
Probably like 5 on Sunday.
5 on Sunday.
Yeah.
You go to the gym on Sunday as well?
Usually.
So you go to the gym 7 days a week?
I have been lately, yeah.
And on the early mornings, you get up at 4. Do you have energy at 4? Do you force yourself to get up? Is it just a habit?
Most days, yeah. Some days you wake up and you're like, I don't know. But it's amazing. The culture we have here, when you go open Facebook and you see Dave Witcher's out running, I'm getting up. Like, yeah. If he's running, I'm running. If I see Mendenhall in the gym, like I'm just going to do it because we're all pushing each other. It's a great culture we have.
I love that most companies in insurance, from experience I'm talking, the culture is let's go have fun, drink, forget about how much money we're not making, and that's it. And let's all be friends.
Yeah.
And here it's like the culture is just this crazy having success in all areas of life, including personal health, waking up early, not drinking. Do you drink?
No.
You don't drink?
No.
At all? Ever?
I used to, and then I was just like,
Like how long ago?
like 5 years.
Serious?
Yeah.
So you haven't drank in 5 years?
I mean, maybe a wine here and there with dinner once in a blue moon, but
Nothing really.
no.
Why don't you?
You know what it was? I think I wanted to just be at my best, because it's almost like, all right, if you want to be the best at what you're doing, you need to do things differently than everybody else does. If everybody else is out drinking and everybody else is out partying and you're not, and you're working on the weekends, like, you're going to get ahead. There's just no way you're not.
Yeah, so Twardowski was telling me he didn't realize how often he drank, and he hasn't drank in like a week maybe.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I think I have the cheat codes now. I'm like, why? And he's like, I have so much energy. And I wasn't doing anything in excessive. It was just here and there, but it was still slowing me down just a little bit. That is very interesting, the drinking part. What about any other, have you had to break any habits that have helped you be this successful? Did you ever have anything that you said, hey, I'm going to give this up?
I think, like, I love sports, and I think prior to FFL, you go home from my old job. I worked as a food and nutrition director, and I worked in hospitality my whole career. I'd work, I'd go home, and then it would be like, all right, we're going to go watch whatever tonight. Now, it's not to say I cut out sports entirely, because I'm a big NFL fan, and that's once a week, but, like, I'm not going home and watching, like, every baseball, basketball, and hockey game at night. It's like, there's no time for that now.
You had to give that up.
Yeah.
To run this schedule.
Totally.
And you run the schedule every week. What if you're going to go on vacation for 3-4 days?
I just map it out differently. Hey, I'm taking this day off and I'm doing this.
Okay, so if you're going, you'll go, hey, I'm gonna run Sunday since I'm not going to be home on Monday because I'm going to take whatever.
Right.
And you make sure you never miss those numbers.
Right.
You just
Exactly.
manipulate your schedule, switch everything around. How about your wife? Has she complained about you being gone? Is she supportive of it? What's that dynamic like?
Supportive. When I started coming off of that convention 2 years ago, like I said to her, we're in the season of work because we need to, I was making maybe $100,000 in my old job, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And I was like, we need to go all in on this. And the only way I'm going to be successful, because I'm not that good and I know nothing about insurance, is I have to give it 100,000,000%. And she was on board. And it's not to say we do nothing. We do stuff. Sundays typically I'm off, whatever. But she was on board 1,000% because she sees the bigger picture. We're not going to be doing this forever. We're building a team. We're building an agency. So she sees the prize.
I wanted to ask you, you said your background was food and nutrition.
Yeah.
When you got started here, like, had you worked anywhere else before working at FFL?
No.
So, like, how did you get your quote unquote background in sales or closing? Or how did you become number one, obviously, if you didn't have, the quote unquote sales background?
I think I focused on the psychology of people a little bit. I listened to a ton of podcasts. I remember specifically listening to a ton that you had done early on in the car. I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And then I started working on the psychology to try and figure out how to communicate best with clients. And I early on figured out, okay, if I solve your problem, like, I'm going to sell a lot, right? Because that's what we do. Like, we don't even sell. We solve problems. And then with the solutions, we're able to make great money.
Right.
So I really worked on the psychology piece, from the phone to the in-home, meaning, your tonality on the phone, how simple you make booking the appointments, how simple you make the appointments, just certain ways that you speak to people, like little nuanced things are the things that I really worked on.
Did you feel like you hit a wall in the beginning, like, or did you just come out the back, like, gates killing it? Or did you, like, go, man, this sucks, I got to learn, like you said, learn how to be good on the phone, learn how to be good in the home. Like, how long did that learning take?
I think early on, the first month I spent $4,000 in leads. So the number one thing, you talked leads earlier, I wasn't confused about, like, buying, and I listened to my mentor, right? I listened to Mark. He said, do this, do that, do the other thing. So I spent 4, I wrote 21. I knew that I had the work ethic, and I knew it was going to take crazy work. I wasn't good on the phone early on. I wasn't good in the house. I remember probably an early appointment, maybe month 2, where I just kind of put my foot down and said, all right, enough. Like, I need to challenge people better and do a better job at that. And I was able to, by challenging people, realize, okay, I need to do this over and over and over because it's the only way I'm going to be successful at this.
That's crazy.
Now you came with no experience. How did Mark recruit you?
We knew each other. We both worked at a restaurant company about 10 years ago. And we had just been friends, and then he's a big Dolphin fan as I am, so we had kind of, DM back and forth. Funny enough, when I lived in Tennessee in like 2015, a guy in my restaurant, he tried to recruit me to another company. He was selling an IUL to a client, and I didn't have like a retirement at the time, so he started talking to me about it. Then he started to recruit me. So then as I'm telling Mark, like, hey, like I'm interested in this insurance thing, he's like, well, that company I know has no leads. So please, he's like, go shoot your foot off before you go to that company. He's like, come here, we have leads, look at what we're doing. And I didn't jump into it because I'm not that guy. Like I need to, kind of process it first, right? And then I finally was like, you know what? Like, look at what they're doing. And I went to that convention, and then I was like, okay, like we can do this.
You wrote them. So like, do you think you would have wrote $1 million without leads?
No, God, no. I wouldn't sell anyone if I didn't have leads.
Right. And that's what's fascinating about this. Like we don't have to ask you to make a list of your friends and family. And
how about this? I would work at Walmart if I didn't have leads.
Amen.
Before selling, prospecting crazy. Everyone I know is like a lead, and I have to go try to get them
them.
Yeah, get them to buy.
That's just weird.
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating because we talk to so many people from other companies that don't have leads, and they're like, you don't need leads. And I'm like, man, I don't know how you're going to generate business. Like, it's fascinating to me because it's like, you wrote $1.3 million last year. How many of those were your friends and family? Zero?
Zero.
Like, that's crazy to me. You can't do that.
So would you say you're a salesperson?
No.
No, huh?
I'm a problem solver.
I don't get sales vibe from him.
Me too.
At all.
He's so laid back. It's
he's so laid back.
They're buying it themselves. Like, that's the difference, right? Like, sales is trying to get somebody to do something they don't want. Buying it, it's like, I made the decision myself to protect my own family, and that's what he does really good.
I want to go back to the waking up early thing, because I think that would make a lot of people immediately successful just because they get rid of, the things that they want to do, like work out or whatever early in the day. And they're not thinking about it during working hours. So when you wake up, do you drink coffee, caffeine, pre-workout?
I'll do a pre-workout, get myself going.
What kind of straight to pre-workout in the morning?
Straight to pre-workout. Let's go.
Damn. Is it a dry scoop? Like you just...
Yeah.
You take a dry scoop?
It's a beast, bro.
Straight to the game.
So you just take the powder...
Oh no, I put it in water.
Oh
yeah, no, I don't drink the powder.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought you were saying you eat the powder.
I mean, it's a better story if we go with what you're saying, so I'm down with that. But
okay, then you go to the gym, and then what's your diet like during the day, and how much caffeine do you drink during the day?
I usually have 1 cup of coffee a day, typically when I get back from the gym. And it's interesting you mentioned diet because when I started, I was like, okay, I want to eat well, and I don't want to stop to go eat out. It's expensive, whatever. And I remember buying a Yeti cooler, and my wife goes, "That's expensive. It's like $350." And now, like, what $350 made me of not having to stop, where now I can, make a salad, whatever, protein bars, protein drinks, water, the whole deal, and I just stock this thing up.
Huge.
So I have it all day long. That's how I can run 8 appointments and never have to stop.
And do you follow any specific diet?
Not anything specifically. I try and not eat a ton of fat stuff. Like I'll do chicken salads a lot. Try low carb. Nothing like crazy, but I just don't eat a lot of junk.
Do you ever break and go to McDonald's? Like, bam.
No, I never go to McDonald's.
Ever?
Never.
Do you have anything that you do where you can tell it slows down your energy levels?
Yeah, I like ice cream. So I'm not going to lie, I like ice cream. And any of my family that see this are going to be like, yeah, he likes ice cream. But I only do it if it's like a family function. I don't just buy it and have it in the house.
I always tell people if I started doing what you are doing when I was in the field. And before that, my energy levels would be all over the place because I would just be eating random, unhealthy, quick places, looking for water, and then it would mess up my schedule. I'd get behind schedule. I have to go find a place to eat, whatever. And I started doing that, and that was huge for me, man. Just literally planning for the day, all your food out and having it.
it's such simple things too.
So simple.
You know, like there's nothing special. It's just do little things really well and do them over and over consistently, and you'll be successful.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. So Mark recruited you. What were some of the main things? Because you said you were making $100,000. What were some of the main things that made you go, I will leave $100,000 a year job and literally try this, which guarantees me nothing?
Yeah. One of the big things was being able to have my own business. I had worked in that industry for a long time. It's a good industry. It's obviously now a changed industry, you know, with COVID. But I knew that I was sick of listening to other people tell me how to do it. And I really needed to start doing something where I could dictate that. That was really a big thing for me. Because I was like, I bet on myself. I was like, you know what? I know that I'm going to work hard. And if nothing else, I know that. And I know that I can figure some stuff out, and I know there's resource. And then after going to that convention and seeing everybody and kind of seeing how, you know, everybody's from all walks of life, we talk about it, anybody can do it. I had such belief from that. I'm like, okay, like everybody here is really, really normal. They're just really normal people. And I'm looking at the system and I'm like, this makes sense. These people filled out information requests. We go out and meet them and, you know, find them what they need. Simple enough.
Yeah. Now, I love how accessible everybody is in Family First Life. And I'm saying that because if someone wanted to work directly with you, let's say they're watching this, they want to start part-time, full-time, they don't have their license, they do have their license, but they wanted to work directly with you. They could do that?
Absolutely.
And how would they contact you?
They could reach me on my cell, 631-241-9693, or on Facebook. And on Instagram, SteveGeo4382. And then we have FFL Health and Wealth.com, and I have a Join FFL HW, site as well.
So FFL Health and Wealth is the name of your agency. Why did you choose that name?
Because I just felt that health is wealth, and they go one and the same, and I kind of mirrored it the way I'm kind of living and doing things, and I think it just worked for me.
Have you read the book Think and Grow Rich?
Parts of it. I got to kind of go through the whole thing.
Me and Factory Fresh were trying to figure out, there's like 12 things to do that being rich you would be considered rich if you had these 12 things in order. Guess which rank money is?
Definitely probably not 1.
12.
Yeah.
That is crazy, dude. I thought it was 4. But it's actually number 12.
Wow.
So
it's like money's a byproduct, right?
it is.
Of all the stuff that we do.
And once you get a lot of money, you really learn that it's not what makes you happy.
Right. Amen.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know until you go, oh, wow, it really is helping people, having good relationships, making an impact. All these other things are what really make someone tick.
It's funny. Somebody said to me, what was the most gratifying thing of like convention? Like, was it being number one? And this, and I was like, no, it was actually like our team event, like where we all got to get together, and it was people from all over the country in one spot. And I was in 2 spots. I was in Dallas and then in Miami. And I made it a point. I'm like, I have to get to Miami because my team's going to be there. And we did like a meet and greet thing. And that was the most thing for me because I'm like, all of these people, I know where their lives are going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, as long as they go to work.
Now, let's say there's 10 people in a room just getting started, okay? How many of those people would you bet would make it?
3.
And why?
Because they won't do the things necessary. They won't sacrifice.
Did you have any outside people not supporting what you were doing, waiting for you to fail? Maybe not saying they're waiting for you to fail, but you kind of know they were. Did you have any of that?
I'm sure there was some. I think for the most part, I have a very supportive, family as well as, Margot's family as well. I'm the type of person that even if I did, I wouldn't listen to it because I definitely kind of march to the beat of my own drum, and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing. But there might have been a little bit here and there, like, it's a little crazy. Why are you doing that?
Now, the 7 out of 10 that don't make it, what would you say the reasons they don't make it are?
They're not willing to sacrifice time. They're not willing to invest in leads. One thing that we didn't talk too much about yet is like lead flow. I got great at buying leads. If there's anything I'm really good at, it's swiping my credit card and buying leads. So I was able to just find different areas, map it out, talk to different vendors, be diverse, and not be afraid. Because again, I knew that I was going to bet on myself as far as being able to go out and work. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like people, they won't sacrifice time and then they won't buy enough leads and invest.
What was your lead bill in 2020?
I spent about $2,000 a week.
Serious?
Yeah.
So was that 100 grand?
Yeah.
To make 1.3?
Yeah.
What'd you make after everything's said and done, dust settles?
That's a tough one because of all of the, like with the team stuff too.
Still, who cares?
I mean, maybe 700-800,
700-800K.
something like that. Something in the vicinity.
Such a bad gig.
And you're buying a new house next year, you said?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
What's that? What's the house like?
That's my thing. I'm looking in Parkland, Florida, maybe a $2 million house. We'll see.
Love it. Margot will be happy.
Yeah. So I'm not I'm gonna run out and go buy like all this crazy stuff. Like I'm like, all right, a house.
Yeah, delayed gratification though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have to be as an agency to over $1 million.
Oh, so you give yourself goals like that.
Yeah. Like this year, we need to be over $1 million by December. We're almost at 6, so we're close. And that's the goal. And then personally, whatever I do, I do.
So what other delayed gratification type of things have you done?
Money wise, like buying stuff wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to get a motorcycle and learn how to do that. I'd love to get a boat. And
Don't get a motorcycle. You're making everything's way too good right now.
Motorcycle, Steve.
It would
When
be a
you
really
said-
safe one.
When you said I need to learn how to do it, I'm like, all right, it's too late.
Don't do it.
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm not like I need to buy crazy stuff like, crazy cars or whatever. I just want to enjoy life. Honestly, it's buying back time is what I want to do now. 2 years, almost 3 years now, running hard in the field. We're building a big agency and we got a lot of good stuff coming. I know that time's going to be bought back.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what's crazy about this, Andrew, is he's the number one producer in the company. We don't know what his house looks like. We don't know what his cars look like. And then you have like all these other people from other companies where they don't make any money, but they all flash their watch, their cars. And I'm like, dude, it's so sad that they sell the lifestyle, but they don't really have the money behind it.
Yeah, but we're selling freedom.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're selling get out of the rat race and be financially free.
Yep. Because it's not about money. It's not worrying about money.
Right.
Dude, so I read this one time. Being financially free is if your bills are $1,000 and you have $2,000 coming in automatically without you working, then you're financially free. So think about what is that worth though?
Right. It's the stress and all that too.
Oh my gosh, you can argue. The way I used to sell annuities is, and I don't think I've talked about this much, but I would go, hey, okay, Steve, are you familiar with what happened when everybody lost their money during the Great Depression? Does anything come to mind when you think of that?
Yeah.
What?
People having to go get butter and bread and not having enough, there wasn't enough stuff for them.
And some people jumping out of buildings
Yeah.
because they lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what did that wear and tear do to that person's health potentially?
Oh, yeah. Devastating.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you is what's called the Sleep Well at Night program, where you can never lose $1. Now you're not going to make as much as you'll be in
Market.
in the market. You're not going to have as big of upswings, but what is it worth for you to sleep well at night and potentially even be healthier and live a longer life, or for someone to do that? What is that worth?
Right.
Dude, and that makes so much sense to me. Dude, stress kills.
Oh yeah.
Sure does.
Look at like the police and law enforcement, like the amount of stress they go through. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. And piggyback, on what you just said, Andrew, about the annuity stuff. It's like we've learned from studies that people that have guaranteed income for life live longer. And it's like if you have your finances taken care of, especially your bills,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that. You live longer. Like that's
Yeah.
cool, dude.
And I know, thinking about, having a child, if I would have had a child at my old job, like me and my wife talk about it all the time, it would have been a totally different ball game, stress-wise, time-wise, money-wise. And now it you don't even think about it. You don't even feel it.
Does Margot like to shop a lot for the kid?
Yeah, and her family does.
Dude, Nicole, every day I'm like, okay, we have 4 of those. She's like, yeah, but this one's safer. Okay.
It's a different color.
Yeah. It's like Amazon boxes and boxes and boxes. You got to hire someone to freaking get rid of boxes.
And all they want is the box, actually, at the end of the day. They could care less about what it is.
Or the tag.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll get a toy and Atlas plays with the tag.
Same here. Jules does the same thing. It's fascinating.
We should start a toy company of just like tags and boxes.
Yeah. Empty boxes.
That they can just chew on and be okay.
All right. The crazy thing is that would probably work. Can you give us, let's go back to in-home phone script while we have you in here.
Yeah.
I just want to get, what advice would you give to somebody on the phone? What advice would you give to somebody that's going in the in-home?
Yeah. Keep it really simple. I hear all this stuff with scripts and saying this and saying that. I'm calling you up. I'm confirming the information. I'm finding a time when you're going to be home and I can come over. That's it. That's all it is. The second thing would be your tonality. Making sure you're not excited. One of the things early on I had to learn was I kind of have an excitable personality. You get somebody, oh my God, they're interested in whatever. Keeping the tone down and level. So this way you can connect with them quickly, simply, and you can find a time when they're going to be home. And then in the in-home, same deal. Don't confuse people. Do the financial inventory, find their problem, go through health, go through finance and budget, and keep reiterating the entire appointment how what you're looking to do here is just find the best option that's going to protect you, that's going to be affordable. I like to say affordable like 50 times. So I'm trying to sell you the most expensive thing in the world. And then learn about what happens from them when they pass away. If it's husband, wife, if it's final expense and it's something for a child, whatever, figure that out and then give them a couple of options and then let them know what we're doing here. We're going to put in an application. I'm your advocate. We're going to see if the company's going to take you, and just keeping it crazy, crazy simple. Because the minute you get all over the place and you start saying, hey, maybe the IUL is good for you, or maybe this is good for you, or that's good for you, you've lost. They're not going to want to do anything.
The tidal wave sale.
I was just about to say that. Tidal wave selling.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get off track when they go, well, I have this 401k, and you get excited about telling them about an annuity. Then they're looking at you like a deer in headlights, and you're like, they're actually truly confused because you just threw up all over them about everything.
Yeah.
What do you say anything to stay on track? Do you go like, well, I'm going to talk about this right now, and we'll get to that later. That way we can discuss what I came here to discuss today. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, because I want to, I'm there to get the app for insurance. And I'm not great at annuities, so we're not going to pretend that I am. I've written a few. I need to be better at it, something I'm working on. But I want to go there first, and then from that, we'll look at other stuff, whatever it's going to be. Because you just don't want to confuse them.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's your advice. What about closing? Do you have a line you use, or what do you say when you go, let's do this?
I close from the phone call. So I'll say things like, who's your beneficiary going to be? And then bang, they stay on the phone with you, number one, because they start talking about it, thinking about it. And then I'll say things towards the end of the call like, yeah, I'm going to be out there Tuesday, and that's when we're going to get you the coverage. It's going to protect your family. So I'm saying little things. I'm planting seeds. Then when I'm in the in-home, I'll compliment them in the beginning. Hey, this is great. We're doing this. This is really smart. Whatever. You just refinance and you're saving some money, and now we're going to protect your family, protect your mortgage, one of your biggest assets. So throughout the process, I like to drop little hints. So there's no confusion at the end, like why I'm here. The other thing I'd say, advice to new agents would be like the domino effect, I call it. A lot of leads, pounding the phone, a lot of appointments. So this way, if you don't, like, you're not the magical closer that's closing 19 out of 20, you have all these appointments that you're just off to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally takes the pressure off. I have one stress every week. It's 15 and 15. That's it. Because I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to have the percentage they're not home, the percentage that doesn't buy, and the percentage that buys. I know it. So just focus on those numbers.
Have you had any days where you want to quit?
Yes.
When was the most recent one?
Friday? Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. You deal with what you deal with, but you just have to always kind of be on to the next. I think you have to have a strong mindset. We talk about that a lot. But it's hard. I mean, when there's rejection, we're not used to loving rejection. But I'd like to say, all right, a baseball player who's a Hall of Famer, he hits 3 out of 10. So he basically,
Twice as much.
he strikes out, grounds out, flies out 7 out of 10 times. And he made the Hall of Fame, and he's $1 million baseball player. So just learn to love the numbers.
Yeah, I love that. Cool, man. Any last questions, Steven?
No, man, what's life like now? Pre-FFL, you're making $100,000 a year. Most people, that'd be great for them. What's life back then like compared to what's life like now with FFL?
It's great. I mean, just the ability to run your own business and be in control of it and see what we have our hands on and where we're headed as a company, that it motivates, it inspires me, it makes me want to work harder. Certainly not making decisions based on money. It's awesome. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever. You just have to persevere and work your way through everything.
Awesome, man. Well, for anybody watching, you've been an inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you.
But there's a lot of people that have not started yet that are going to completely crush it.
Yeah.
And they can follow some of the things you're giving them to get started quickly and make money for their family. Again, if anyone's watching, reach out. I mean, you're willing to help. You gave your phone number. You're probably always available.
Yeah.
For the people that are working.
Totally.
And we got a lot of work to do.
Yep.
So thank you for coming in and sharing, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.